Thanks for trusting MTN this Thursday evening. I'm Keely Van Mittendorp.
And I'm Tim McGonigal. The experts are warning that nearly 180,000 people will die from coronavirus by October if people don't get better about taking precautions, and that includes wearing masks. This information comes from the University of Washington's Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation. Researchers there say that the estimated death toll could drop if 95% of all people wear a mask in public and stay home when they can.
And staying on the coronavirus front, it was a historic day here in the Treasure State. Officials reported the highest single-day jump in COVID-19 cases in Montana since the virus was first reported in the state on March 13th. The state reported 37 additional cases of COVID-19 this morning. Since noon, there's been 12 more, including 3 new cases in Ravalli County. The highest previous single-day total for new cases was on March 26th, when the state reported 35 new cases. In total, there are currently 201 active cases in the state. And the rise in case numbers after 6 weeks of extremely low counts and the start of reopening the state's economy.
Governor Steve Bullock and top state health officials say the surge is not entirely unexpected, but it's also framed how Montanans can slow it down.
MTN's Mike Dennison has that story.
At a Capitol News conference Wednesday, Jim Murphy, the head of the State Communicable Disease Control and Prevention Bureau, said the main factors are more contact among people, in groups or at work as the economy reopened, and more available testing. For example, an outbreak occurred among healthcare workers in Missoula that was traced to cases in Helena and maybe elsewhere.
It shows how contagious this virus is and how even in a workplace setting, not social distancing or not using PPE all the time can lead to a pretty quick outbreak.
In Miles City, where cases jumped dramatically this month, health department tracers identified several group gatherings where infections occurred and that had spread to 4 other counties.
So if you liken it to like a wildfire, right, you have a spark that's going into another county and setting off another potential cluster of cases.
In the last week, new cases have been reported in 24 Montana counties, including some that previously had no cases. 29 of those cases were in Bighorn County, home to the Crow Indian Reservation, where Anderson says many people tested had shown no symptoms of the disease, but likely were still spreading it. The contact tracing identifies who had contact with those infected, tests them, and directs them to quarantine, or if they have the disease, isolate until they recover. Chief State Medical Officer Greg Holtzman says the virus can survive outside a warm body, so if the transmission can be stopped, so can the disease. He says that's why it's vitally important for people to continue with social distancing and take precautions like wearing masks when they can't distance.
We don't want to go backwards. We want people to feel safe. We want people to be safe. And we want schools to reopen in the fall. And yes, there are some inconveniences, and we are all going to have to deal with that. But those are so minor when we consider the alternatives. We cannot do this alone. I cannot stress that enough. We cannot do this alone. We might disagree on everything else, but we are all in this together.
Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks, Mike. And Montana still has one of the lowest infection rates in the nation, even though its reported cases overall jumped by 30% in the last 9 days.
As a result of this jump in cases, expect limited access to Glacier National Park through the Blackfeet Reservation. The Blackfeet Tribal Business Council decided to close the eastern border of Glacier National Park into the Blackfeet Reservation, including the following roads: Two Medicine, Chief Mountain, St. Mary's, Cutbank Creek, and Mini Glacier will be closed until the end of the 2020 tourism season. Well, it's another beautiful day in Big Sky Country, and meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz joins us now with more. Curtis?
Thank you, Tim. Good evening, everybody. What a beautiful day out there it was, and dare I say tomorrow could be even nicer. Let's take a look at the radar, and clear skies, so most of the time that means no precipitation out there, but you can see some of the clouds moving away. High pressure is moving in. Typically high pressure means some nice weather, a little warmer weather as well, especially this time of year. However, when we broaden the picture, you can see an area of low pressure up there in the Gulf of Alaska. That is a big storm. It is a slow moving storm, and it is headed for Big Sky Country. So soak up the sunshine while we have it. Not now because the sun's down, but tomorrow the sun will come up and it will be out all day long. We'll talk about a different kind of soaking coming up in the full forecast. Plus, when will it really warm up? Not only will it be wetter than normal, a little cooler than normal, looking towards July 4th for things to maybe go back to normal, so to speak. More on the forecast later in the show.
Thanks, Curtis. We'll check back in with you soon. A new government proposal could result in higher prices on specialty items imported from Europe. It may not seem like a big deal until you're paying twice as much for something than you'd normally pay. MTN's Annie Johnson brings us the full story.
Tariffs. Not a word you hear every day, but it is a small word that can have a huge impact on your life.
This is having an impact, and it's really not such a great thing that we're increasing the cost on consumers. So to see these prices go up, especially right now, it's something we can say, hey, no, just speak up and have our voices heard.
The U.S. Trade Representative Office just announced possible new tariffs to as many as 30 products imported from Europe, including wine, olives, meats, cheeses, even whey protein, all because of a dispute involving aircrafts.
So I get this whole Boeing Airbus dispute, but I don't think wine should be a part of it. The 25% that we're seeing now is enough. The 100% would just be disastrous.
But it is important to note these are proposed tariffs and not set in stone just yet.
Last year they proposed really excessive tariffs. We were lucky enough that a lot of those didn't come through to the level that were proposed. I just think if we add undue stress and undue worry, it's not good for any of us.
And to help consumers out if they do increase tariffs, this business has a plan.
The last thing we want to do is go and increase our prices by 30% because that's going to make purchases out of a lot of people's ballpark. So I mean, we do have a really great American cheese selection as well. Those ones obviously didn't see the tariffs, and then we do try and absorb some of those costs on the European.
But something you can do as a consumer is join in on the conversation.
If we can talk to our representatives and the U.S. Trade Office, there should be public comment coming up on the proposed increase in the tariffs. So if we can let our voices be heard.
Well, an announcement from Governor Bullock's office today will roll back regulations for visiting family members in nursing homes. There are still strict rules to follow to help keep the coronavirus from reaching those most vulnerable. MTN's Cody Boyer visited a local senior care center and has the report.
For many, since the beginning of COVID-19, visiting their loved ones at nursing homes, senior care centers has been arguably one of the most difficult parts because they can't until today.
Being able to sit down, you just can't do that through a window.
Unless you are a healthcare or hospice worker, visiting fathers, mothers, grandfathers, and grandmothers has been nearly impossible. While some have found a way to try, in the eyes of Highlight Country Care Administrator Leanne Bunn, it's been necessary but hard.
Having no visitors is really challenging, especially for those that are used to seeing their family members on a regular basis. The emotional health is almost just as much or more important at this age than physical health.
According to the governor's updated directive, there are now options. Senior and assisted living facilities may now allow visitors, effective immediately, if the facility has given notice to the recommended safeguards to residents and family members. Bunn looks to creative ideas to follow all of these.
Having family members wear masks outside, having that 6-foot distance would be absolutely totally beneficial.
Which her residents have already done, just without visitors. They've taken up gardening, including the flowers out front, and visiting with Bunn's friendly animals. And just this week, the Compassion Project stopped by, sidewalk chalk in hand.
The residents just lit up. They just brought so much color and so much joy. Just made them feel special.
All ideas that worked, but not the same as family visiting family, not through a window. Bunn says this is good news.
There's so many little things that makes it so much easier to provide good quality care, and these people don't know. It's almost seamless except for being able to see the families.
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
And again, visitation should be conducted with strict screening, distancing, sanitation, and other protocols following the CDC's rules.
Well, Montana law doesn't allow for liquor licenses to be issued within 600 feet of a church, setting up a possible conflict in downtown Great Falls after the Calvary Chapel recently filed for a conditional use permit to use the empty space at 427 Central Avenue. The proposed location wouldn't affect the nearby drinking establishments that already exist, but the worry is about future development for bars and taverns downtown. Luckily, provisions in state law allow the city the option to create an ordinance that could sidestep the 600-foot rule, meaning a win-win situation may be possible.
It was kind of putting the city commission on a collision course to make a decision. What's more important to you, bars and taverns or a church? Which is kind of an awkward, challenging position to be put into. Once we learned that it might be possible for us to alleviate some of that inherent conflict, we're going to bring it to the city commission and see if they happen to agree with us that maybe they can be located closer together.
And Raymond said the planning board hopes to build a more definite recommendation in late July. Well, the traditional Augusta Rodeo has been shelved for this year, but there's still plenty to do this weekend.
We'll break it down after the break.
We are
powered by the Montana Television Network. The 10 o'clock news continues on KRTV, Montana's news leader.
Welcome back. Augusta canceled their annual Augusta American Legion Rodeo set for this weekend, but they will still have plenty of other activities planned.
MTN's Alexia Guayo visited the town to share what you can expect if you're planning to visit.
Augusta is set for a weekend of activities including Kids and Ranch Rodeo, a baseball tournament with barbecue, fun runs, and more. One Augusta business owner says this weekend is important because the town's local economy depends on it.
And our town, like many communities in Montana, really depends on tourism. And we're seeing a lot of people really wanting to come and explore and experience those things and still enjoy the summer while being safe. And luckily, we are in a place where you can do both.
All the weekend events are placed outside to maintain social distancing guidelines. The Augusta Chamber of Commerce and one business owner did confirm with me that the events such as the rodeo activities and the run were approved by county health officials.
Local businesses sponsored events throughout the weekend. The president of the Augusta Chamber of Commerce is also co-owner at Buckhorn Bar. The business is preparing for incoming traffic this weekend by encouraging takeout to limit the amount of people in the bar.
We also do have room inside to eat, but we also have a great outdoor area where you can eat. We are also going to do a very limited menu, just so it's faster, easier, and it makes everybody a little happier.
In the end, making everyone happy is the goal for the weekend.
We're a close-knit community. We always have been. We work together. We help each other out. And so for people to come in, we just love it. And we're looking forward to it, excited about it.
In Augusta, I'm Alexi Guayo, MTM News.
As we near the end of June, the Canyon Ferry Walleye Festival is about to get underway starting Saturday. But as MTN's Sam Hoyle shows us, this year will look a little different for the anglers.
For over 2 decades, the Canyon Ferry Walleye Festival has been taking place. Anglers from all over Montana flood the lake to try and stake their claim on first place. However, with the COVID-19 pandemic, Sean Jacobs, the tournament's director, said the event was almost postponed and even canceled.
We did not get approval from Broadwater County to be able to host this tournament until about 2.5 weeks ago. So up to that point, we believed that the tournament would be canceled with all the public, all the other public events being canceled that are even larger than what we have.
However, the Broadwater County Board of Health did give the tournament the go-ahead. This year, the tournament did see a bit of drop in participation. In 2019, the tournament drew 128 teams. This year, Jacobs is expecting somewhere around 115 teams. And as for the changes the tournament had to make to get approval from the Board of Health,
we've added another weigh station on the far north end where more anglers can check in at a boat that's actually on the water. Registration is going to be team by team, one team in, check in, and then out. As far as the rules meeting goes, we are offering a live feed on Facebook using Facebook Live.
Marlon Cross and Ken C. started competing in the tournament when it first started over 2 decades ago and said they keep coming back simply because they enjoy the tournament's atmosphere.
I like to fish.
We enjoy the people and the camaraderie of the walleye tournaments that we have, and the people here out of towns that have been just great through the years. So we enjoy coming back and lucky to come back this year with everything going on.
The tournament is set to start bright and early on June 27th. Reporting in Townsend, Sam Hoyle, MTN Sports.
And we'll have a final check of weather right after this.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Good Thursday evening to you all. I'm meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz, and what a beautiful day it has been for a lot of the state. Beautiful night outside as well. Yes, you can get the app. Just go to your app store here. 64 degrees with a light southeast wind at 6 miles per hour. Tomorrow will be a warmer day, but it will be a little windier of a day. Currently around the state, mild evening highs, or current temperatures into the 60s and the lower 70s. We may not get up to these numbers here for high temperatures coming up on Sunday and also Monday. A couple of chilly, rainy days are ahead of us. So enjoy the clear skies that we have out there right now for most of the area. Some clouds southeast Montana are moving away. Here's the big picture. The front that brought the thunderstorms, even a couple of severe thunderstorms to our area yesterday, now moving down off towards the south and the east. Everything looks good with high pressure coming in for the time being. But again, there's a pretty big storm that will be headed our way for later Saturday, most of Sunday, maybe into next week as well. So here on Future Track, here's what will happen. Clear skies tonight. Nice start to the day tomorrow. One of those days early on where you just know it's going to be a warm and sunny day into the afternoon. Look at that. Maybe a few high clouds sneaking across the sky. Otherwise, a really nice afternoon. A little on the breezy side, but still a pretty summer day here. Then into Saturday morning, a couple of showers may come out early on Saturday morning, but most of the morning hours until about noontime, we're looking pretty clean here across a lot of the state if you're traveling in any direction here. But into the afternoon and the evening, look at this eruption of thunderstorms. More of these storms will form east and southeast of Great Falls, so eastern Cascade County through Judith Basin County, Fergus County, Choteau County, down through Mark County, Wheatland, around the Judith Gap area, looking at some big-time thunderstorms. Watch out if you're watching from the Lewistown area Saturday afternoon. Some of these storms could produce some large hail and some damaging wind. And then heading through Saturday night, those storms will lift up across the northeast part of the High Line, and we're going to have an area of low pressure developing into Sunday morning. That will produce some increasing rainfall here. Maybe not severe storms, but a gentle rain will be developing. Now, as far as the wind goes, tomorrow into Saturday, you can see the increase in the wind speed. The winds will die down a little bit as we head into Sunday. Here's the forecast for tonight. A comfortable night, mainly clear skies out there. And the forecast for tomorrow, high temperatures up into the upper 80s, even a few 90s out the High Line. And for the most part, we're talking mostly sunny skies. A little on the breezy side, especially off of the Rocky Mountain front. Now, looking further down the road, this is really for next week, heading into Independence Day weekend. Cooler than average for a lot of the west and above average precipitation here. So on the 7-day forecast, tomorrow, the only day where we will be dry across the area. 88 degrees, mostly sunny skies, southwest winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. About half of our area will see thunderstorms on Saturday. Better chance a little south and east of Great Falls. Sunday, just about everybody sees some rain through the morning hours into the afternoon, with more rain continuing into Monday. Cool temperatures and wet weather continue next week.
Thanks, Curtis. One man's dream is making it all the way to national TV.
See how he's empowering Blackfeet tribal members next.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 10 o'clock news continues on KRTV, Montana's news leader.
And welcome back. Well, a Browning Boxing Club will be featured on national television next week.
MTN's Tom Wiley caught up with the club's founder, who hopes the exposure can help send a message.
In 2003, Frankie Kipp started the Blackfeet Nation Boxing Club in Browning for a simple reason: to teach youth on the reservation, especially women and young girls, to defend themselves.
I started seeing girls getting bullied. Yes, you know, they were coming up to me, they were getting bullied, and we had actually had a couple in their 20s and stuff wanting to learn how to take up for themselves because they were getting abused or something or other. We start hearing about young ladies being taken from Indian country. And so I started training my daughter, if something happens, at least you're going to know how to fight for your life.
Since starting the club, Kip has trained over 500 boxers on the reservation.
Some of the girls that come into the boxing club have real low self-esteem, and the confidence that they get from boxing is just phenomenal.
And next week, Kip and his pupils will be featured on a big stage.
I started thinking, you know, how can we keep these girls from putting themselves in harm's way? The only answer was this club.
The club will be featured in a documentary called Blackfeet Boxing, Not Invisible, set to air Tuesday on ESPN.
It was emotional in the sense that, you know, I was a probation officer prior, and I put a lot of things upstairs in my head, unpleasant things, you know. When I was doing this, I talked to a lot of kids out of suicide. The youngest 8 years old wanting to take their lives, you know. The documentary, it brought a lot of memories back up, you know. There was a few that were real unpleasant about made me break down during the interview, you know, because
Blackfeet Boxing is a film about fighting for respect, identity, and acknowledgement. This film details the story of Ashley Loring Heavy Runner and other missing and murdered Indigenous women, and Kip hopes the large audience will help spread awareness to the silent epidemic.
I think so. I think it should be awareness, not just on our reservation, but right now with most of the Indian nations, this is what's happening. People are coming up, girls are coming up missing. We have unsolved murders, you know, it's a trip, you know, some of the things that we see, I do think that it's going to bring up some awareness with that.
Tom Wiley, MTN News.
Blackfeet Boxing has already won awards at several documentary film festivals. It will air for the first time on television Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. on ESPN. We'll be right back.
All right, let's check out the 7-day forecast here until tomorrow morning with Jason Laird. 88 degrees for the high tomorrow. It is the only 100% dry day out of the next 7 days. 82 on Saturday. It starts out dry. We'll have afternoon showers and thunderstorms and soaking rain developing. I'm hoping it holds off until Sunday afternoon. I think a lot of people are, instead of starting on Sunday morning. Rain increasing across the area, across the state nonetheless, and continuing into Monday.
Well, after 59 years, the Great Falls business is closing its doors. Cartwheel Casino and Liquor Store closed March 19th, then reopened under restrictions May 4th. But as patrons return to a new normal, owner and president Joe McKenney says it will be without his store.
He says the COVID-19 pandemic is the straw that broke the camel's back. They will be working to reduce inventory over the next few days before closing their doors.
All bottles are 20% off at the Cartwheel Casino and Liquor Store on 10th Avenue South. Customers will find a commemorative sticker on each bottle highlighting the store's 59 years in business.
That's kind of a neat way to, you know, end decades in business.
Still open now?
Still open now.
I think they close at 6:30. But that's all the time we have tonight at 10. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great evening.